Welcome in. And today I'm going to explain something very quickly for you. This video, I don't care whether you're a dive main, a support main, tank main, poke main, flyer, I don't care. Just listen to what I have to say. This is not going against anybody. It's not me saying, oh, I hate this role, hate anything. No, this is my opinion. I'm explaining why I think it, and let me know what you guys think after you watch my opinions. Now, this is why I think dives in Marvel Rivals should always be high risk, high reward. They should never be very consistently getting value. Now, you might be asking a few questions right now, which I will ask you this question, which will be a much more simplified version, and you'll hopefully see my point even after this one. And in most team comps, it can be this way, but this is my question. In a team fight, what starts to snowball the faster, or what causes the enemy team to bulldoze you the fastest? A, your tank getting killed first, B, your DPS getting killed first, or C, your support getting killed first? Exactly. It's your support. Losing a support in any team fight, especially when you get to the higher ranks, let's just say Grandmaster and above, maybe not so there, but you get my point. Once you pick off a support, the other support, he has or she has a lot of teammates on their plate now. The only support that can really stand toe to toe with healing a whole team is Loki with his runes, with all 3 runes up at the same time, 1 for him, 2 for his illusions. But even then, that's on a 30-second cooldown, and characters like Spider-Man can probably dive him 6, 8 times before he actually gets it back. Not to mention, supports kits right now aren't built to sustain an entire team. That's why there's 2 supports. If it was built to sustain the entire team, you would have 1 support comps out there with like all DPS and tanks. But no, you need 2 supports, and good luck if you are left with the solo Atom heals or solo Ultron heals or solo White Fox heals. Good luck with these off supports. Even with main supports, it's severely difficult to even sustain half your team. Even if you have less players on your plate to heal, it's still extremely difficult from how high the damage is in this game. Damage and healing in this game are super high, don't get me wrong, both of them need to get nerfed. But the problem is, it's so overtuned on both ends of the spectrum that if one support goes down, the bulldoze starts to happen. Now you might see where I'm going with this with dives. We're in a dive meta right now. There's been dive metas in the past too. This one I think it's at its strongest in my opinion, at least with certain characters, especially with Black Panther. And a lot of characters now, especially dive characters, have lost the ability to have that high risk, high reward. Most of them now are okay. You have the best movement abilities in the entire game on the shortest cooldowns. Spider-Man can go in and out in less than probably 3 seconds and deal half the health of a support. And especially if you have, let's say, an Ultron poking their backline and Spider-Man does Web Tracer, E, uppercut, you already killed them. And with double dive comps, it's just gonna be way worse. You're gonna obliterate every support in like a millisecond. I've seen the clips. I've seen a Iron Fist and a Black Panther dive together and they obliterate in half a second. I put that in my community post about a video I saw. But with all the buffs to dives, they're losing what they are actually supposed to be. Dives are supposed to be high risk, high reward. It's like a predator and a prey right now. The prey is the supports. The predators are the dive characters. They're their number 1 priority because the supports are the number 1 priority of the team fight pretty much. Without supports, you're going to lose. Sure, you're going to lose without DPS and tanks, but not nearly as fast. Supports are way more integral to a fight than any other role, and dives know that. That's why there is dives, to target them, to go behind the enemy front lines, to attack their most vulnerable characters. Everyone has their backs to the supports. Even one of the supports, if they're playing behind and in front of each other, one's always behind everyone. And if a dive loses that risk and reward, what's really the purpose of not playing a dive? Sure, people bring up comparisons to Hela. Oh, Hela can 2-tap people. But yeah, Hela has been consistently meta and strong. Right now in the meta, she's probably at her weakest state. Phoenix has taken up her place in the meta. But you can't compare someone who's always been meta and say, see, they can do it. Because dives aren't supposed to 2-tap everyone. That's not their risk and reward. Their risk and reward is, sure, they can do a bunch of burst damage, but they're super fragile. They should be. In a way, they're like mini supports now. Look at Daredevil and his shields. I don't know the exact number, but I feel like he gets 25 to 50 shield after every hit, it feels like, or after every ability usage. He can almost get up to 400 health, if not a little bit more. I don't know the exact numbers on him though. I don't have it on me right now. Black Panther, he used to get a bunch of shield before that got nerfed. I think he still gets a little bit now though. And a lot of dive characters have to has not just very good mobility to get in and out, which I do agree they should have mobility, but I don't think the best mobility in the entire game with the shortest cooldowns. Spider-Man can have 5 web tracers at the same time, 2 uppercuts, and I think 3 swings just out of the gate. No other character in the game can do that, other than probably Gambit with his cards, but still, that's on 4 charge, I believe. And he has to use 2 just to heal multiple teammates at once. If you have a meta where dives have very high mobility, get in and out, get a bunch of shield, have high burst damage, have them be able to survive in the backline for 10 plus seconds while people are focusing them, that's not good game design. Why have such a strong character that has high mobility, high durability, go after the most integral piece of a team fight? Black Panther lost some of that risk. They gave him no cooldowns on his double jump and then omnidirectional on his spin kick. So he lost that risk before you had to use these abilities precisely. Because if you ran out of dashes, if you mistimed it, if you hit the button at the wrong time, you had to pay the price. But now Black Panther, if he misses his E, oh, he just moves his mouse a little to the left and now he gets a free dash reset. Daredevil can just hop in. I've seen people, and even dive mains have talked about this on their channels to other people. And just, if you've been on YouTube, if you've been in the Rivals community before, you have heard of this. That when Daredevil came out, and even still to now, people say they just button mash on him and get value. That should not be a thing in this game. It just shouldn't. You have to input commands precisely to get a combo. You shouldn't just button mash and be like, oh, look at the combo I got. No. Especially with all the shield he gets, the CC grab he gets, the deflect he gets, the shield he gets, the maneuverability he gets, the high health he has. He has pretty much everything he's ever wanted and pretty much no weaknesses. Sure, he doesn't have the maneuverability as Spider-Man, let's say, but Spider-Man doesn't have all the shields. There's no character, and don't get me wrong, it is good to be unique, but Daredevil, his ult is pretty much don't look at him or else you're gonna get killed, or at least highly damaged. Sure, I'm a Loki main right now. I can pretty much dominate Daredevils. If he ults, I put down my runes and just blast him, especially if he has his deflect already off cooldown. He just bursts like a balloon. But what about the other supports? You're gonna lose as a rocket no matter what with him. Let's just use the CC abilities with the knock abilities for all the DPS, for all the dives. Look at the grapple from Daredevil. He can animation cancel Loki out of his teleport, out of his runes. Same with Spider-Man uppercut and E ability when he pulls him closer to Loki after he web tracers them. That can cancel Loki's animation to place his runes and teleport. Same with every support. Daredevil uses his grab on Rocket. Nope. Too late. Canceled you. Rocket uses his dash on Spider-Man uppercut. Nope. Dash is broken up. You can't use that anymore. One waste. Same with the cluster E. Nope. Spider-Man hits you. Your dash is now no more. It's like it never was there and you lose a cooldown space. I can go on and on with every single DPS that can do this. And with all these dive DPS being more sustaining, being higher damage, being in the backline for feels like an eternity, even when they're getting targeted by the teams, even while being targeted by the enemy team. This shouldn't be like that. They should get obliterated. Sure, they can have high burst damage, but the trade-off should be they're vulnerable. The trade-off should be they have low health. The trade-off should be they have low cooldowns. Sure, don't get me wrong, some supports need nerfs, but that's not what I'm arguing today. That's a whole different subject. So if you go to the comments and you disagree with me, oh, they're only this strong because how strong certain supports are. Yeah, I'm not disagreeing some supports are strong and don't need nerfs. They do need nerfs. They are strong. I do agree with that in certain supports. But this video is about DPS, the dive ones. I'll end the video by saying this, and I hope you guys actually agree with this. Dive DPS should be vulnerable. They should be purely high risk, high reward because they are targeting the most integral pieces of a team. I have won more fights and I have won more games simply because my dive killed the enemy supports, and there's nothing the enemy team can do about it. Not only in terms of protecting their supports, but also in terms of what happens after the supports are dead. They can't do anything. Just using Loki as another example. If the enemy supports are dead, this ruin your team. Put 2 illusions down, place down your runes, attack the enemy team. They're gonna burst like a balloon. Cloak and Dagger, Bubble, and then Terror Cape. There's nothing they can do about that. The other roles are so vulnerable without supports because of how high the damage is for both DPS, tank, and supports in the game. But until they fix this risk and reward payoff with dives, it's going to feel unfair. It's going to feel like you can't react to them. It's gonna feel like nobody's helping you because of how sustainy certain dives are, of how maneuverable they are, about how high their maneuverability is, how low their short cooldowns already are, and are getting very good buffs to that. Like Spider-Man has gotten 1 second off his web cluster since season 0. That might not seem like a lot, but that's a game changer. That could be a difference between winning and losing. But let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in my next YouTube video. See ya.